Now, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. So let me explain. First off, it's free. I'm not joking, you guys. The Anchor app, it is free to use. Second, there's creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now that's awesome, isn't it? Third, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere, you guys, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so many more platforms. Fourth, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum relationship. Now, is that awesome, you guys, or what? That's just terrific. And finally, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So I have another podcast with Anchor, and I'm just loving Anchor so much. I love it. It's so very easy to use, guys. So why don't you download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. What's up, you guys, and welcome to the official podcast of Damian Talks Education. So listen up. I am here to talk about all things education on my podcast. So get prepared for some realness and honesty of education as I walk you down through various of topics that's happening in the education world with some amazing guests, to sharing stories relating to education and so much more, because I got you covered with education. So join me on this journey of education with me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Damian Talks Education. I am Damian Anderson here. So let me get started with the topic that I'm going to be discussing for this episode. So today's topic is how to deal with student racism. Yes, how are you supposed to deal with student racism? So let me just hop right into this, you guys. So this tough topic must be addressed. Did you hear me? This tough topic must be addressed everywhere, okay, with your students and so on. So we have to have these difficult, especially now, we have to have these difficult conversations with ourselves and with others. Seriously, guys, in this time, it is time, like I mentioned on the last episode of what I did, everyone has to speak out now. No one cannot be silent. I'm sorry, you just can't. Everyone has to speak out about this. And I'm continue on saying this. If you are just sitting back and you are seeing this happening around the world, you're seeing this happening and you are not doing nothing about it, and you're saying, this is not my issue. Yes, it is your issue. Get involved. You just sitting around letting this happen of the police officers killing us, Black men. They are killing us. They are destroying our country. You are allowing this to continue on happening, then guess what? You are an awful person on this planet for allowing this to keep on happening, continuing over and over, because it is not going to stop like people you, because you are continuing with this pattern of happening. You're not speaking up. You are just sitting there. You are in this back corner here, like I did on the last episode. You're in this back corner here. You're just looking what's happening in your community, and you're not doing nothing about it. You're just right here, just look at that. That's not my issue. You're not getting your phones. You're not recording the action, the evidence. You're just sitting around and not doing nothing. Like it's not your issue. Why should I get involved? You should get involved. Speak up, because this is not right. So again, you land this happening, you are an awful person. You should not be on this planet, if I have to say that. I'm sorry, but I'm speaking the truth. Sorry, but I am speaking the truth. So you guys, we have to address these difficult
tough topics with our families, with our friends, with our coworkers, etc. We have to have these difficult conversations with ourselves and others. Okay, I mean it's just the bottom line. It's just the bottom line. So let me just hop right into here before I get all um, crazy again. But anyways, again, you have to address these tough topics. Okay, you have to. Now, what do you do when one of your students has racist beliefs? Okay, so what do you do when one of your students, or probably many of your students, has racist beliefs? Well, I found this out, you guys, that a teacher, her name is Kara, she wrote in to the We Are Teachers helpline regarding this issue, saying that one of my students told me the other day that she's the only American in our classroom because she's the only white student in the class. And she says, I tried to explain to her that everyone in the class is an American, regardless of your race or cultural background, but she refused to believe anything that I say. So how should I handle this? She wants to know, how should I handle this issue here? Well, let me just say this, Ms. Kara, that is a tough one. That is a tough one when a child has deeply held beliefs about their identity, about their race. Those can be hard to overcome. It can be. So here's what many teachers has to say about this. And I'm going to be sharing that with you guys. One is to get historical. Now, what do I mean by this, about get historical? Well, almost every American has roots in other countries, okay? Everyone, other roots in their countries. Have her explore her own. Now, have her research. This is from one teacher says, have her research pre-Columbian Americans and then do her family's geographic, her ancestry of doing that. Another teacher says, point out to her that all Americans came from wherever, from somewhere to settle in America. So by her logic, no one in the classroom would be American. Okay, and that's from one teacher out there, Matt L. And the other one was from Joe T. You have the next bullet is to just keep it simple. Keep it simple with the student. You don't have to go all extra with it. Just keep it plain and simple. So this is from Wendy K. She says, just say in class, if you are born here or gain citizenship in another way, you are an American. Okay? If you are born here or gain citizenship in another way, then you are an American. All right? Another teacher, this is Andrew B., says that if you can, this teacher says, keep it simple if you can. And what she means about that, she says, I could see where the question of who's American could be confusing to some. I am adopted from Korea and I was born there, and yet I'm American. So be open, you guys, be open to answering specific questions with your students concerning the nuance of nationality, okay? Just be open with them. Always be real and open with your students, okay? I sure am. When I become a teacher in my classroom, I'm going to be 100% real with them. I'm going to keep it totally blank with them. I'm not going to false anything. I'm just going to keep it absolutely real. The next bulletin point, number 3, Number three, I did two fingers. Number three, don't be afraid to have these discussions. Don't be afraid to have these difficult conversations, these discussions with your students. So get comfortable talking about the tough stuff, the tough topics with them. Don't skirt the topic, okay? Here's one teacher says, Jeannie N, she says, I teach Spanish and I have conversations all the time about race and equity with them. And she said, honestly, sometimes the kids don't just understand the nuance of our identities. And it's important to talk about it clearly and openly with them deeply. Yes, that is so true right there. Absolutely true. Another teacher, Tuesday D, says, it sounds like she has nationality confused with ethnicity. So don't jump to the conclusion that she's racist, okay? Just explain it to her, okay? Please, please. We're on to the next bulletin point, which is make it a teachable moment. And I know I'm going through these very quickly, but I just want to give out all these informations as possible to you guys, to the educators, okay? Especially to the educators with their students. And so this next bulletin point is make it a teachable moment. So this is from Nia B. And she says, I love showing students the PBS documentary, A Class Divided, which is about a teacher from Iowa who taught her students about racism through an interactional experience. So check that out. I'm gonna check that out. That's why I'm gonna check out that documentary, and you guys should as well if you haven't seen it, and also show it to your students as well. Here's from another teacher, Jamie C. She writes, have each student say how, let me say this again, have each student say how he or she identifies him or herself in a classroom, okay? So have each of them have each of your students say how he or she is identified in the classroom. That's a very good one right there. Have them identify themselves of who they are. And I believe I talked about that in the last episode. Let them identify, let them be who they are in your classroom. Don't let them be who they're not. We don't want our students to pretend like they are something else, because they are important to us. They are our future. Am I correct? They are our future. Our students are our future. So let them open up about themselves. Don't just let them pretend of trying to be somebody else that they're not, because that's not right. How is that how are you teaching that with your students? How are you going to teach your students, math and science and all of this, and they're not the person that they are, if that kind of makes sense? So just let them be who they are in the inside, and let them express it out with their classmates and with you in the classroom, so they can learn from other students as well. That's what I believe in. So remember that above all, we're there to educate our children. Yes, you're here, educators, to educate our students, not to just do something else, because that's not right. The next bulletin point is to work with what they know. So go with concrete examples instead of a more abstract ideas of identity. Now this is from Mark M. And this teacher says, ask the students to name some famous Americans. And they are bound to name some with worthy backgrounds. And when they do, tied it in with them together, okay? So moving on to the next bulletin, and I believe this is the last bulletin. So this is going to be like a short episode. And the last bulletin is to share your listen to this, you guys, share your own stories that illustrates the complexity of identity. Now, this is from one teacher, Jessica R. She writes, "My father was born in Africa. So even though I'm white, I'm technically African American. Identities can be very complex. It can be very complex. So yes, share your own. That's what I'm going to do when I become a teacher in my classroom with my students. I'm going to share my own stories with them that illustrates the complexity of identity with them. I believe all teachers should do that, is to share their own stories with their students, to express, their identity with them. So teachers, I want to know this, teachers, what other advice would you give to Miss Kyra on this subject? I want to know that. So leave them down in the comments below, in the comment section below, so we can help Miss Kyra out, which she probably already has got the help that she needs, but there's, even more to say. So that was 7 tips, you guys. I just gave out, I believe. I wasn't keeping track, but that is 7 tips of how you can help out. 7 tips for confronting racism in the classroom with students, how to deal with student racism. Okay, so I know this is a short episode, but I just wanted to give out another week of information with what's currently going on around the world, because it is just mind-blowing. I mean, it's just like I mentioned in the last episode, and so do you guys as well. I want racism to end. Really, I just really do. I just don't understand why all of us Americans, why we cannot love each other and be kind to one another. Ellen DeGeneres says that on every episode of her talk show, be kind to one another. We're not being kind to one another right now. We're just not. We're out here on the streets. We're protesting for what we believe in. And we still are having these cops are just targeting our Black men, which is not right at all. I don't understand. And I believe, like, right before, you guys, I recorded this episode. I came to record this episode. I was watching The View, and I was seeing some police officers are literally, after with the George Floyd incident, they are still kneeling down on someone's neck. That is just, what can we learn from this, you guys? What in the world can we learn from this? When hopefully this will be all over with, which I want it to be all over with. But we got to get our act together. We got to stand firm with each other. We got to work together, people. If you want this to end, we have to work together. That's what I'm just saying. We have to work together. So I mean, it is just ridiculous. And now you guys have heard about the murder of Rayshard Brooks, and I just have no words for that either, because it's literally happening. It's literally happening. We are seeing murders live, you guys, on camera. And it's just ridiculous. So that's all I just have to mention here. I'm sorry, you guys. My phone is literally blowing up here. If you guys can hear it, I forgot to put it on mute, but I'm about to end this episode anyway. So thank you guys for joining me for another week of information with what's currently happening in the world. And make sure you tune in next week and the week after that and the week after that for even more information and to hear my thoughts and my feelings of what I am seeing happening in the world, you guys, because it is just, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. So, as my good friend Andrew Freds, we had a great conversation on my Instagram account um, where we had a discussion of what's currently happening around the world and what it means for us to be a black man in America. So that conversation was fantastic. So make sure you guys check it out on my Instagram account on the Damian Talks EDU Instagram page now. The IG TV video is on here. So make sure y'all check that out. A very good conversation with my good friend. And we're sick and tired. Enough is enough. We are tired of this, of happening to us every single day. It's enough. I'm sick of it. I'm heartbroken. I'm hurt. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm confused. I'm lost. I have all of these feelings and emotions that I'm feeling right now, as too many black men are today. I'm hurt. I'm confused. I'm lost. I'm angry. I'm frustrated with what's happening to us, with the police officers, which I'm so sick and tired. I'm sick of it. They need more, like we discussed, and Andrew Frey, he mentioned with that discussion that they need more training. Police officers, they need more training. And what I believe in is that they need to do like something, I don't know, but they need to do like something right before training even begins to see their work. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling, but you guys probably know what I'm trying to say here. But right before they go into training, they need to see how they really are, of how they are supposed to protect us. The police officers are supposed to protect us, you guys, our community, but they're not. Sadly, they're not. But I'm not going to point out some of the good police officers where there are some good and incredible police officers, and I don't want to give off credit for that, but they are awesome. I just want to give it out to all of the good cops out there who are doing exactly what is right, instead of these pathetic old officers that are doing nothing. They're horrible cops, and they shouldn't even. Okay, I don't understand this here, and somebody will probably answer this for me. But if you want to like damage people, you want to hurt people with all this hatred, you want to destroy, people and stuff, why did you decide in the first place to become a cop? That's what I want to know. That is what I really want to know. Why are you're such a angry? Something is really going on into your mind. Something has really deeply happened to you that you're doing this to a human being, that you are destroying them. So I want to know, why are you doing this? And you became a police officer for that, to do that. I just don't understand that. If you want to do all this, then why did you first want to be a police officer? Because police officers are supposed to protect us, stand with us. But lately, we haven't been seeing that with a lot of them. So they need more training. That's all I have to say. So I'm just end this right here. Y'all tune in next week to what else I have to say. But yeah, I just want to know that answer right there. Why did you decide to become a police officer in the first place? And you are doing this to a human being. You are just destroying them, attacking us when you're supposed to be protecting us. So I just want to know that. So y'all can DM me on Instagram at Damian Anderson, or on Instagram on this podcast, Damian Talks EDU on Instagram and Twitter, or leave comments down in the section below. And so, thank you guys for tuning in for another great topic of what's currently happening in the world. I will see y'all back on another episode of Damian Talks Education. Y'all take care of yourself and be safe. And get involved. Get involved with what's currently happening. Speak up. You cannot be silent. So speak up with what's currently happening. I'll see y'all next week.
Hello, everyone. Damian Anderson here. If you have a question, concerns about Damian Talks Education, stories to share with me, any feedback to share, reactions to the topics that I talk about, jokes to tell, or someone you will like for me to interview, please let me know by direct messaging me on Instagram and Twitter at Damian Talks EDU, on Facebook at Damian Talks Education. You can email me at educationthoughtspodcast@gmail.com or send in a voice message to me by going to anchor.fm/Damian Talks Education, and make sure you click on the message tab to where you can record your questions into me. Thanks so much.